something happened behind the scenes that nobody saw coming. Just when royal watchers believed Princess, and would be among the strongest critics of Meghan Markle's growing American business network, reports began suggesting that Princess and had taken a position that stunned both supporters and critics alike. Yet the real shock came when discussions reportedly turned toward Archie and Lilibet, triggering questions that instantly sent royal speculation into overdrive. The first signs that something unusual was unfolding did not emerge from Buckingham Palace, nor did they come from Prince Harry or Meghan Markle. Instead, according to growing royal speculation, attention suddenly shifted toward a group of influential American partners who had worked alongside Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, on projects connected to business, media, and long-term branding ambitions in the United States. For months, these partnerships attracted relatively little attention beyond entertainment circles. Then, almost overnight, whispers began spreading that several individuals connected to those networks were discussing something far more sensitive than commercial projects. According to reports circulating among royal commentators, conversations had allegedly begun touching on the future public image of Archie and Lilibet. That alone would have been enough to generate headlines. But what happened next pushed the story into an entirely different category. According to royal observers, Princess and unexpectedly became connected to those discussions at a moment when many people assumed Princess and would remain completely outside the situation. After all, Princess and has spent decades building a reputation as one of the monarchy's most disciplined and private figures. Princess and rarely enters public disputes. Princess and rarely comments on family controversies. Princess and almost never becomes associated with the kind of media storms that frequently surround Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Which is exactly why royal watchers became so fascinated. Why would Princess and suddenly become linked to discussions involving Meghan Markle's American partners? And perhaps even more importantly, what information could possibly be important enough to draw Princess and into a conversation connected to Archie and Lilibet? Those questions rapidly fueled speculation because the timing appeared unusually significant. As public interest surrounding Prince Harry and Meghan Markle continued evolving, discussions about Archie and Lilibet increasingly became part of larger conversations involving identity, public visibility, family legacy, and future opportunities. Every decision connected to Archie and Lilibet attracted enormous scrutiny because Archie and Lilibet occupy a position unlike almost any other children in the world. Although Archie and Lilibet live in California, Archie and Lilibet remain connected to one of history's most famous royal institutions. And according to several commentators, that unique position may be at the center of everything. Reports began suggesting that individuals within Meghan Markle's American professional circle viewed Archie and Lilibet as representing something far bigger than family connections alone. Some observers argue that Archie and Lilibet symbolize the intersection of two worlds. One world is built around centuries of royal tradition. The other world revolves around modern media influence, celebrity branding, and global visibility. According to those commentators, that combination creates opportunities that few public figures could ever replicate. But where does Princess and fit into this increasingly complicated picture? That question became even more intriguing when royal analysts began discussing what they described as a surprising development. According to speculation circulating within royal commentary circles, Princess and reportedly expressed concerns that had little to do with personal disagreements and much more to do with long-term consequences. Rather than focusing on present controversies, Princess and allegedly became interested in how decisions made today could affect Archie and Lilibet many years from now. If true, that detail changes the entire story, because suddenly the discussion is no longer about Meghan Markle. The discussion is no longer about Prince Harry. The discussion becomes about the future. And whenever discussions shift toward the future of royal children, public curiosity increases dramatically. Think about it for a moment. What happens when children connected to the monarchy grow up in an environment completely different from previous generations of royals? What happens when those children exist simultaneously within royal history and modern celebrity culture? What opportunities emerge? What risks emerge? And who gets to decide which path is ultimately taken? According to royal commentators, these questions have quietly existed for years, even if they rarely become visible in public reporting. Then came the development that truly intensified speculation. Several observers began suggesting that Princess and may have learned information connected to long-term plans involving Archie and Lilibet that had not previously been discussed publicly. The precise details remain the subject of intense debate, yet the mere possibility that Princess and possessed knowledge unavailable to most royal watchers immediately transformed the story. Suddenly, attention shifted away from rumors and toward one critical mystery. What exactly did Princess discover? And why were Meghan Markle's American associates reportedly involved in those discussions? As speculation intensified, another interesting pattern began emerging. Rather than dismissing Princess Anne's concerns, some commentators noted that certain figures connected to American business circles appeared surprisingly receptive to aspects of Princess Anne's perspective. That observation generated an entirely new wave of questions because it suggested the situation might be far more complicated than a simple disagreement between royal and non-royal interests. Could common ground actually exist between Princess and individuals connected to Meghan Markle's professional network? Could both sides be looking at the same issue from different angles? Or was a much larger disagreement quietly developing beneath the surface? Nobody seemed certain. Yet one thing became increasingly clear. The story was moving rapidly beyond ordinary royal gossip. The conversation was becoming a debate about influence, identity, legacy, and the future role Archie and Lilibet may eventually play in the public eye. And just when observers believed they understood the direction of a story, reports began emerging about a private exchange that allegedly changed everything. According to growing speculation, that conversation contained the very information that transformed Princess and from a distant observer into a central figure in the controversy, while simultaneously raising new questions about Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, and decisions that could shape the future of Archie and Lilibet for years to come. Before we uncover that next chapter, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications because the next part of the story explores the private discussion that reportedly caught Princess Anne's attention, why Meghan Markle's American partners suddenly found themselves at the center of royal speculation, and how Archie and Lilibet became the focus of a debate nobody saw coming. If the reports circulating among royal commentators were already generating intense curiosity, the developments that allegedly followed raised the stakes dramatically. According to growing speculation, the reason Princess Anne became interested in discussions involving Meghan Markle's American partners was not because of a business agreement, a media project, or a commercial strategy. Instead, several observers claimed that concerns began emerging over how future decisions involving Archie and Lilibet might shape public perceptions for decades to come. Suddenly, what appeared to be a modern business conversation was being viewed through a completely different lens. And this is where the story becomes significantly more complicated. According to royal analysts, one of the most misunderstood aspects of modern royal life is the enormous difference between public image and long-term legacy. Public image can change within days. Headlines appear and disappear. Trends come and go. Legacy, however, is something entirely different. Legacy concerns how future generations remember individuals long after current controversies fade away. Several commentators suggested that Princess Anne has always approached royal matters through that longer perspective, focusing not on immediate attention but on consequences that may not become visible for many years. That observation immediately triggered a fascinating question. Could Princess Anne have viewed discussions involving Archie and Lilibet through a completely different lens than Meghan Markle's American advisors? According to speculation circulating among royal watchers, that possibility may explain why Princess Anne reportedly became such an unexpected figure in the story. While Meghan Markle's American partners allegedly focused on opportunities, visibility, and future possibilities, some commentators claim that Princess Anne was more concerned about identity, continuity, and long-term stability. Whether those reports were accurate remained the subject of debate, yet the contrast itself generated enormous interest because it suggested two fundamentally different visions of the future. One vision focused on opportunity, the other focused on legacy. And whenever those two priorities collide, disagreement often follows. But then another intriguing element reportedly entered the picture. Several royal observers began discussing claims that a private briefing involving individuals connected to Meghan Markle's professional network unexpectedly revealed information that caught Princess Anne's attention. The exact details remained unclear, Yet according to commentators, the discussion allegedly centered on future plans regarding public exposure, branding considerations, and long-term positioning connected to Archie and Lilibet. That revelation immediately intensified speculation. Why? Because Archie and Lilibet are not ordinary public figures. Archie and Lilibet occupy a position unlike almost anyone else in the world, existing at the intersection of royal heritage, American culture, international media interest, and enormous public curiosity. As a result, virtually every conversation connected to Archie and Lilibet carries implications far beyond a single news cycle. And according to several analysts, that reality may be precisely what concerned Princess Anne. Think about it for a moment. If decisions made today influence how Archie and Lilibet are viewed 20 years from now, who should have the strongest voice in those discussions? Should those decisions primarily reflect modern opportunities? Should those decisions prioritize family traditions? Or is there a middle ground that protects both interests? Those questions quickly became central to the growing debate because they touched upon issues that extend far beyond the royal family itself. Meanwhile, another surprising development reportedly emerged behind the scenes. According to some commentators, several American figures connected to Meghan Markle's professional circle allegedly found aspects of Princess Anne's perspective more persuasive than expected. That detail attracted enormous attention because many observers assumed Princess Anne and Meghan Markle's associates would occupy completely opposite sides of the discussion. Yet if those reports were accurate, the reality may have been far more nuanced. Instead of a straightforward disagreement, the situation may have involved multiple groups attempting to balance competing priorities while considering what was ultimately best for Archie and Lilibet. And suddenly the story no longer resembled the controversy people initially imagined. Instead of a battle between opposing sides, the discussion began looking more like a complicated negotiation involving the future of two children whose lives will always attract extraordinary public interest. But just when it appeared the situation might be moving toward common ground, another claim reportedly changed everything. According to growing speculation, Princess Anne allegedly became aware of information connected to future planning discussions that had not previously reached wider royal circles. Once again, the details remained uncertain, yet the reaction described by commentators suggested that the information was significant enough to trigger entirely new concerns. What exactly did Princess Anne learn? Why did that information reportedly attract so much attention? And why were certain individuals suddenly becoming far more cautious about what had previously seemed like routine planning discussions? Those questions spread rapidly because they introduced a powerful new element into the story: secrecy. Whenever information exists that only a small number of people possess, curiosity inevitably grows. Whenever questions outnumber answers, speculation accelerates. And whenever Princess Anne reportedly becomes involved in sensitive discussions connected to Archie and Lilibet, royal audiences pay very close attention. Interestingly, some commentators began suggesting that the biggest issue was not the information itself, but what the information revealed about competing visions for the future. According to those observers, the controversy was gradually transforming into a debate about influence. Who ultimately shapes the narrative surrounding Archie and Lilibet? Who determines how public visibility is managed? And who carries responsibility for balancing personal freedom with family legacy? Those questions remain unanswered, yet their importance continued growing with every new report. And just when observers believed the mystery could not deepen any further, reports began circulating about a conversation involving Prince Harry that allegedly changed the entire direction of the story. According to royal commentators, that discussion not only intensified existing questions, but also introduced an unexpected conflict that threatened to pull multiple figures into the center of an increasingly complicated controversy. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications because the next chapter explores why Prince Harry reportedly became a crucial figure in the developing situation, what information allegedly triggered fresh concerns, and how a private discussion may have transformed an already sensitive debate into something much bigger than anyone originally anticipated. Just when royal observers believed the discussion surrounding Princess Anne and Meghan Markle's American partners could not become any more complicated, a new question reportedly began circulating behind the scenes. According to several commentators, the issue was no longer centered on business relationships, future planning, or even the mystery information that allegedly attracted Princess Anne's attention. Instead, focus suddenly shifted toward Prince Harry, raising concerns that the Duke of Sussex may have found himself caught between competing visions for the future of Archie and Lilibet. And if that speculation was accurate, the entire story entered a far more sensitive phase. According to royal analysts, Prince Harry occupies a uniquely difficult position whenever conversations involving Archie and Lilibet become the subject of public attention. On one side stands Prince Harry's desire to protect family privacy and maintain control over important personal decisions. On the other side stands the unavoidable reality that Archie and Lilibet remain connected to a royal family that attracts global fascination. As a result, even relatively private decisions can quickly become matters of international discussion. That reality reportedly became impossible to ignore as speculation surrounding Princess Anne continued growing. Several commentators suggested that information allegedly reaching Prince Harry created new questions regarding long-term expectations and future planning. The details remained unclear, yet the reaction described by observers suggested that Prince Harry may have become increasingly aware of how many different voices were influencing conversations connected to Archie and Lilibet. Think about that for a moment. If you were a parent navigating extraordinary public attention, how would you respond if multiple groups appeared to have strong opinions about your children's future? Would you welcome outside perspectives? Would you reject them completely? Or would you attempt to balance competing viewpoints while protecting your family's interests? Those questions immediately resonated with audiences because they transformed the story from a royal controversy into something much more personal and relatable. Meanwhile, another intriguing development reportedly emerged from discussions involving Meghan Markle's professional circle. According to several observers, some individuals connected to Meghan Markle's American network allegedly viewed Archie and Lilibet through the lens of opportunity and future potential. Once again, the specifics remained uncertain, yet commentators suggested that the broader conversation involved visibility, influence, and long-term possibilities that could eventually shape public perceptions of Archie and Lilibet. That interpretation, however, allegedly created tension with a very different perspective. According to speculation circulating among royal watchers, Princess Anne's reported concerns focused less on opportunities and more on consequences. Several commentators argue that Princess Anne has spent an entire lifetime witnessing the pressures associated with royal visibility. Unlike many public figures, Princess Anne understands how decisions made during childhood can continue influencing public perception decades later. And that may explain why Princess Anne reportedly became such a significant figure in the story. Because if Princess Anne genuinely believed that certain decisions could affect Archie and Lilibet far into the future, Princess Anne may have viewed silence as the greater risk. But what exactly was Princess Anne trying to prevent? That question became increasingly important because nobody seemed capable of agreeing on the answer. Some observers believed Princess Anne's concerns involved preserving family legacy. Other commentators argue that Princess Anne's concerns centered on maintaining flexibility for Archie and Lilibet as they grew older. Still others suggested that Princess Anne simply wanted to ensure that future choices remained in the hands of Archie and Lilibet themselves rather than being shaped by external expectations. Whatever the truth may be, one thing became clear. The debate was expanding, and as the debate expanded, so did public curiosity. Then came another reported development that intensified speculation even further. According to several commentators, discussions allegedly taking place among figures connected to both royal and American circles revealed a surprising reality. Despite public assumptions, the situation may not have involved two opposing sides locked in direct conflict. Instead, some observers suggested that multiple parties shared similar concerns while disagreeing on how those concerns should be addressed. That distinction changed everything. Because if the disagreement was about methods rather than goals, the story became significantly more complicated than a simple royal dispute. Suddenly, questions emerged about communication. Questions emerged about trust. Questions emerged about whether misunderstandings, rather than deliberate actions, were driving much of the controversy. And whenever misunderstandings become part of a developing story, uncertainty grows rapidly. At the same time, attention increasingly shifted toward Meghan Markle herself. According to royal commentators, Meghan Markle's position remained one of the most closely watched aspects of the entire situation because Meghan Markle occupies a central role in shaping family decisions involving Archie and Lilibet. Every report, every rumor, and every alleged discussion inevitably led back to one critical question. How did Meghan Markle view the growing debate? Did Meghan Markle see Princess Anne's reported involvement as helpful guidance? Did Meghan Markle interpret the situation differently? Or was public speculation exaggerating disagreements that may never have existed in the first place? Those unanswered questions kept audiences deeply engaged because they highlighted just how little verified information had actually emerged. Yet perhaps the most surprising development involved the reaction of royal watchers themselves. Instead of focusing exclusively on conflict, many observers began discussing the future. The conversation gradually shifted toward larger questions involving identity, family legacy, personal freedom, and public responsibility. According to several analysts, this shift explained why the story continued attracting attention. People were no longer following a controversy. People were following a debate about what kind of future Archie and Lilibet might ultimately choose for themselves. And then, according to growing speculation, another private conversation reportedly altered the situation once again. This time, however, the discussion allegedly involved information that reached beyond Meghan Markle's American partners and beyond Princess Anne's reported concerns. According to commentators, the next development introduced a new figure whose involvement could potentially change the entire direction of the story. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications because the next chapter explores the unexpected individual who reportedly entered the discussion, why royal observers believe the controversy reached a critical turning point, and how new information may have transformed a private debate into a story attracting attention on both sides of the Atlantic. If the reported involvement of Princess Anne had already transformed the conversation, the next development allegedly pushed the story into completely uncharted territory. According to several royal commentators, the private discussion that reportedly attracted so much attention did not end with Meghan Markle's American partners, nor did it end with concerns surrounding Archie and Lilibet. Instead, speculation began growing that another influential figure had quietly entered the conversation, creating fresh questions about who was actually shaping the future direction of the debate. What made this development particularly intriguing was that the alleged new participant was not connected to Hollywood, media contracts, or commercial ventures. According to observers following the story, the discussion reportedly expanded into royal circles in a way that immediately raised concerns about influence, authority, and long-term family interests. Suddenly, what had started as a conversation involving Meghan Markle's professional network was evolving into something much larger. And that raises an important question. At what point does a private family discussion become a matter of broader significance? For most families, those lines are relatively clear. For Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, Archie, and Lilibet, however, those lines often become blurred because personal decisions can quickly attract international attention. According to several analysts, that reality may explain why the story continued growing despite the lack of clear public confirmation regarding many of the reported details. Meanwhile, royal observers began focusing on another fascinating aspect of the controversy. According to speculation circulating among commentators, Princess Anne's reported concerns may have extended beyond immediate decisions and into the realm of long-term identity. Several observers suggested that Princess Anne understands better than most people what it means to spend an entire lifetime under public scrutiny. From childhood onward, Princess Anne experienced expectations, responsibilities, and attention that few individuals could ever fully understand. Because of that experience, some analysts argue that Princess Anne may have viewed the situation involving Archie and Lilibet through a uniquely personal lens. Not as a commentator, not as a critic, but as someone who understands the consequences of growing up connected to one of the world's most famous institutions. If that interpretation is correct, it changes the entire emotional dynamic of the story, because suddenly the issue is no longer about business strategies or professional relationships. The issue becomes about experience. The issue becomes about perspective. The issue becomes about whether lessons learned across decades of royal life should influence decisions being made today. Would you listen to that kind of advice? If someone who had spent an entire lifetime navigating public attention offered guidance regarding your children's future, would you view that guidance as valuable wisdom or unnecessary interference? That question became increasingly central to the debate because different observers reached very different conclusions. At the same time, reports continued circulating about Meghan Markle's American associates and their alleged role within the broader discussion. According to several commentators, some of those individuals reportedly believed that Archie and Lilibet would eventually benefit from greater flexibility and greater freedom to define their own paths. Rather than focusing on royal expectations, those perspectives allegedly emphasized opportunity, independence, and the ability to create identities beyond traditional structures. And here is where the story became truly fascinating. Because when royal observers examined both viewpoints side by side, many noticed something surprising. Both sides appeared to claim they were acting in Archie and Lilibet's best interests. That realization complicated the narrative dramatically. Instead of heroes and villains, instead of winners and losers, the story increasingly resembled a disagreement between people who shared similar concerns while envisioning different solutions. Yet according to commentators, that did not reduce the tension. If anything, it increased it, because disagreements become far more difficult to resolve when both sides genuinely believe they are protecting the future. Then another development reportedly intensified speculation even further. Several observers began suggesting that Prince Harry's position was becoming increasingly important. According to those commentators, Prince Harry found himself standing at the center of multiple competing influences. Prince Harry understood royal traditions because Prince Harry was born into them. Prince Harry understood life in America because Prince Harry had built a new chapter there. And perhaps most importantly, Prince Harry shared responsibility for decisions involving Archie and Lilibet. That unique position meant that every new report inevitably led back to Prince Harry. What did Prince Harry think about Princess Anne's reported concerns? How did Prince Harry view discussions involving Meghan Markle's professional network? And was Prince Harry becoming increasingly aware of the growing debate surrounding the future of Archie and Lilibet? Those questions continued driving interest because Prince Harry's perspective remained one of the largest missing pieces of the puzzle. Then came what some commentators described as the most surprising twist yet. According to growing speculation, individuals who initially viewed the controversy as a temporary disagreement reportedly began treating it as something much more significant. Instead of focusing on individual decisions, attention shifted toward broader themes involving legacy, family responsibility, and long-term consequences. The debate was no longer confined to private discussions. The debate had become symbolic of a larger conversation about how modern royal families navigate a rapidly changing world. And perhaps that explains why audiences remained so invested. Because beneath every rumor, every report, and every unanswered question lay a much deeper issue. How do families balance freedom with responsibility? How do parents prepare children for futures that nobody can accurately predict? And how do public figures protect family interests while living under constant public attention? Those questions resonated far beyond royal circles. Yet just when observers believed they had identified the core issue, reports allegedly emerged suggesting that a previously undisclosed piece of information was about to change everything. According to commentators, this new development reportedly connected multiple parts of the story in a way nobody had anticipated, raising fresh questions about Princess and Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, and the future role Archie and Lilibet may eventually choose for themselves. Before we move into the final chapter, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications because the next section explores the revelation that reportedly brought all the pieces together, why royal watchers believe the biggest surprise may still be ahead, and how the controversy could ultimately reshape discussions surrounding Archie and Lilibet for years to come. As the controversy surrounding Princess and Meghan Markle's American partners, Archie and Lilibet continued generating speculation, many royal observers arrived at a surprising conclusion. The most important part of the story was no longer the reported conversations, the alleged disagreements, or even the mystery information that reportedly attracted Princess Anne's attention. The most important part was what the entire situation appeared to reveal about the future of Archie and Lilibet, and why so many people seemed invested in shaping that future long before Archie and Lilibet are old enough to make those decisions themselves. That realization changed the conversation completely. According to several royal commentators, stories involving Archie and Lilibet often attract unusual levels of attention because Archie and Lilibet represent something larger than individual family members. Archie and Lilibet symbolize the intersection of two powerful worlds that rarely exist together. One world is built upon centuries of royal history, royal expectations, and royal tradition. The other world is built upon modern celebrity culture, American media influence, and unprecedented personal freedom. Because Archie and Lilibet stand directly between those worlds, every discussion involving Archie and Lilibet inevitably becomes a discussion about the future itself. And perhaps that explains why Princess Anne's reported involvement generated so much curiosity. According to several analysts, Princess Anne has spent an entire lifetime witnessing the advantages and challenges that accompany royal visibility. Princess Anne understands that public attention can create opportunities, but Princess Anne also understands that public attention can create pressures that last for decades. As a result, some commentators believe Princess Anne's reported concerns may have been motivated less by disagreement and more by caution. But if caution was truly the motivation, another important question emerges. Was Princess Anne seeing risks that other people failed to recognize? Or was Princess Anne simply applying lessons learned from previous generations of royal experience? That question remains one of the most fascinating aspects of the entire story because there is no universally accepted answer. Meanwhile, royal commentators increasingly focused on Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, and Prince Harry. According to observers, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry occupy a position unlike any other modern royal couple. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry chose a path that emphasized independence, personal freedom, and life beyond traditional royal structures. That decision fundamentally changed the environment in which Archie and Lilibet would grow up. Yet despite relocating thousands of miles away from royal life, Archie and Lilibet remain connected to a family whose history continues attracting worldwide fascination. And that creates a unique challenge. How do Prince Harry and Meghan Markle provide Archie and Lilibet with freedom while simultaneously managing expectations that come from royal heritage? How do Prince Harry and Meghan Markle allow Archie and Lilibet to build independent identities while acknowledging the reality of global public interest? How do Prince Harry and Meghan Markle prepare Archie and Lilibet for a future that nobody can accurately predict? Those questions help explain why discussions surrounding Archie and Lilibet often become much larger than the immediate controversy that sparked them. Then another interesting perspective began emerging among royal observers. Several commentators suggested that the controversy may have revealed something unexpected. Despite speculation about disagreements, many of the individuals involved appear to share a common objective. Whether discussing Princess Anne, Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, or other figures connected to the story, most observers agreed on one point. Everyone claimed to be acting in what they believed were Archie and Lilibet's best interests. That realization complicates the narrative dramatically. Because when people share similar goals but disagree about the path forward, the debate becomes far more nuanced than simple conflict. Suddenly, the story becomes less about opposition and more about competing visions. One vision emphasizes protection. Another vision emphasizes opportunity. One vision emphasizes caution. Another vision emphasizes flexibility. And according to several analysts, the future may ultimately depend upon finding a balance between those perspectives rather than choosing one over the other. But here's where the story takes one final and intriguing turn. Several royal commentators noted that Archie and Lilibet themselves remain the biggest unknown factor in the entire discussion. Public debates often focus on decisions being made today, yet Archie and Lilibet will eventually grow older and develop perspectives of their own. Archie and Lilibet may embrace certain aspects of royal heritage. Archie and Lilibet may pursue entirely independent paths. Archie and Lilibet may ultimately make choices that nobody currently anticipates. That reality serves as a powerful reminder that the future remains unwritten. And perhaps that is the most important takeaway from this entire story. Despite the rumors, despite the speculation, despite the reported conversations and alleged disagreements, nobody truly knows what future Archie and Lilibet will choose for themselves. According to many royal historians, that uncertainty has always existed within royal families. Every generation confronts new circumstances, Every generation faces unexpected challenges. Every generation ultimately defines itself in ways previous generations could never fully predict. So what do you think? Do you believe Princess Anne's reported concerns reflected valuable experience gained across decades of royal life? Do you believe Meghan Markle and Prince Harry are creating a future that offers Archie and Lilibet greater freedom than previous generations enjoyed? And perhaps most importantly, do you think Archie and Lilibet will eventually embrace their royal connections? Or do you believe Archie and Lilibet will create identities entirely separate from traditional expectations? Share your thoughts in the comments below, because this debate continues generating passionate discussion among royal watchers around the world. And before you go, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our latest royal family updates, royal analysis, palace developments, and in-depth discussions involving King Charles III, Queen Camilla, Prince William, the future king, Catherine, Princess of Wales, Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, Archie, Lilibet, and the future of the monarchy itself. Thank you for watching, and remember that while headlines often focus on controversy, the stories that truly shape history are usually the ones that unfold quietly over time, influenced by family decisions, personal choices, and futures that remain impossible to predict until the moment they finally arrive.